Woo! My goodness, to quote Amazing Lucas. So, yeah, I know I'm going to get somebody angry because this thing has become very polarized, of all things. But I have seen Badlands. So let us get to the hatred. Was this a good movie? Yes. So this is definitely not a terrible or bad movie. People are saying that it's totally trash and garbage. They are just lying. This is very high quality at many levels. So what's the problem? Well, again, trying to be fair, and the marketing was not lying about everything, but it was a little deceptive. So we do know this will not have the structure of the other Predator films because the Predator is the main protagonist. Okay, that part was in the trailer, and that is true. However, beyond that, certain twists in the way the plot goes are going to divide a lot of people. So, what's the essential story? Basically, that the main character, Deck, has to prove himself on an alien world and confront basically this big monster. And he gets help from Elle Fanning, who plays an android, and she plays several roles. I'm not going to talk about Elle Fanning too. That would spoil way too much of the film. So I will say the very, very, very beginning, like literally the first couple minutes, very strong, in my opinion. But then, frankly, for the first hour, to me, that actually felt kind of weak and kind of slow and like, okay, I was a little checked out, frankly, which I just wasn't paying attention. I was like, all right, whatever. But then, surprisingly, a little after the halfway point, it starts to get a lot better. So overall, the second part of the film is much stronger and better all around with the stunts, the dialogue, and frankly, the acting. However, it does have a lot of very weird, loopy, and honestly, I just didn't think it was necessary. All these twists and turns, and they do pay off. I'll say that certain things happen with the Predator, and we'll just be very vague antagonists, right? Because I'll say this: like a lot of the plot is predictable for about three-fourths of the film, but then the last fourth goes bat crazy, and I think this is where a lot of the division is coming from. In terms of the film itself, the bat craziness does make sense, and it is pretty fun. However, in terms of the Predator lore, the other Predator films, a lot of people will be disgusted. They'll be like, that is way too far, that is way too radical, and is way too extreme. So there you have it. So it is a good film, but as a Predator film, it's below average. In fact, it's pretty shocking because you would think this is a different director because Prey also did have a different structure from the other Predator films. But for the most part, they did stick broadly to the framework. So I'm glad he didn't just repeat Prey all over again. But I will say I'm a little disappointed. A lot of people were speculating, oh, we're going to have the Predator in like whatever, different time periods like the Old West, Russian Civil War, Japan, right? Fighting samurai. And I know people are gonna say, "Oh, the animated film." Yeah, yeah, yeah. But again, live action. I think that was the hope. So I'm kind of torn. As a film, this is above average, but I am a little fearful because Dan, the director, has said this that if this makes a lot of money, he has another film, another live action film planned. But I'm torn. So he is a good director. Prey was excellent. Like Prey was near perfect. I'm not going to give all my rankings here, but I would say Prey to me was better than Predator 2. However, this film is much below Predator 2. So Predator 2 to me, once it gets started, start into the terms of the main story, the main plot is very strong, very exciting, very kinetic. And this one kind of just dragged in too many places. The jokes were lame. There is a lot of bloodshed. There are action scenes, but they're just not as well done as the earlier Predator films. And then, of course, there's the woke menace issue. So let me just address that. Is this woke? Well, surprisingly, the woke aspects, what there are of it, are pretty minimal. I mean, that may be shocking to hear that because of all the complaining from the usual people like Nerdrotics and people like that. And listen, I like this guy, James Hancock. He also was like, oh my God, it's too woke and too much Jar Jar. I get what he's saying, but that is really distorting what happened. So it's a weird thing that actually all these other films, Predator 1 and 2 and Prey, were way more woke. They're way more woke than this. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, what do you mean by woke? If woke means this is a political social commentary about, quote, today, the answer is yes. But no, it's mainly its own story set in the far future. I told you the story. It's he goes on a hunt, he gets help with the android. That is the basic gist. That said, they do clearly, in some of the jokes, are signaling, obviously things about Trump, warfare, da 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 da. There's a very strong anti-war message here, but that's in part one. Like Predator One, for people who are not totally stupid, has a very strong anti-war message. But again, if you just want to see the good action scenes, you just get caught up there. But that political message is there, guys. I mean, the director confirmed it. So it's people who don't really know Predator films, don't know the lore at a deeper level. They're like, oh my God, it's like guys shooting stuff. No, there are deeper layers. There are deeper layers. The problem here is that, yeah, a lot of the jokes, a lot of the tone, it's way too silly. It's way too silly. So it feels like a yo-yo, right? When it's very good, it is really, really good. But too many times it's also very, very weak. So I'm very mixed on it. However, trying to be as honest as possible, it is more good than bad. I think most Predator fans will enjoy this and will like it. But there are reasons to be worried. There are reasons to be worried because whether you like Prey or not, like tonally and in terms of how graphic it is, it fit the Predator films much more. This one feels like they are trying to reach a younger audience, like a teenager audience with the PG-13, and they are pandering to that audience. So some of the older, more hardcore Predator fans will probably feel alienated. So that's why these ratings are all over the place. Like John Campeo likes this. He loved it, but he's not a real Predator fan, so he doesn't matter. But Drum Dums really loved this too. I can see why he loved it. I think he went a little overboard. But then you have the other fans who are going the opposite direction, saying, yeah, there's some good stunts here and there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Music was good here and there. But it is going very far away from the mythology of part one and part two. So if you love those films, and I do, yeah, this feels like a totally different universe. Feels like this is kind of a fan fiction that just has the official title. But good or bad, this is a canonical film. So it'll just be head scratching. It is such a divergence from the early films. You're like, what is the point of calling it the Predator? It just feels like they had a different story. They're just calling it Predator. But there we go. And on top of that, I think the design is still pretty bad with Deck. It's not terrible, but I wasn't very impressed. So yeah, a lot of iffy scenes, a lot of bad jokes. And yeah, some of the plot twists I thought were really dumb, but they do have a good payoff here and there. So there you go. So my rating will be 7.25.
But he's right.
But again, good aspects with the music, but yeah, there's a lot of stupid stuff. A lot of stupid stuff. And the first hours to me was very slow. Way too slow. And there we go. So Predator Badlands, not the worst film. The Predator has had so many bad films, so this is not one of them. But I was hoping for a much stronger film. And I would say if you did love Prey, in terms of quality, it's not a huge drop off, but it is a drop. It is a drop. I think they spent more time and effort with Prey, and that shows. Here it feels they got overconfident and just did silly, stupid stuff, in my humble opinion.